Welcome to My Pods Podcast. I'm Dr. Joe Schneider, and after 35 years as a functional neurologist, a personal journey through stroke recovery, and helping thousands of patients, I'm here to share breakthrough solutions for POTS and neurological wellness. From getting out of bed in the morning to rebuilding your nervous system, this is your guide to understanding and overcoming neurological challenges. Let's begin this journey to recovery together. So good morning. We have Dr. Mark Sanna here today, a very special guest. We were classmates in chiropractic college back in the late 1980s. A long time ago, brother.
And Joe, you were actually the class president. Now remember that.
Fun time back then, actually. It was a great time to be learning chiropractic.
Very much so. We had some great teachers. That's true.
We did have great teachers, yeah. And I think we got well grounded in all the chiropractic techniques.
Yes.
And our science was fantastic at New York Chiropractic up in Long Island.
It really was. It really was. Some of the great classes we had in microbiology, I can remember. Really, really super group of folks.
Yeah, and then we had that doctor from Yeshiva University, anatomist that came in,
Yes.
teach us anatomy. It was fantastic. Yeah, so we learned a lot, and it was really exciting.
You know, I bet most folks don't understand the actual background to become a chiropractor, that you have to do your undergraduate work and that it is a full 4-year degree, and that we do all of the studies that a medical doctor would do. We don't do pharmacology, of course, drugs, but we spend hours in the anatomy lab dissecting cadavers and learning the anatomy from the inside out. And that once you finish that education of 4 years, then you got to take 4 parts of a board examination before you're ever sitting for your license examination in your state. So
yeah, those board examinations were really tough. I remember how tough they were. They failed a lot of people.
Yes, indeed.
The other thing about our anatomy lab, it was the best anatomy lab in the country. We had
Exactly.
like MRIs and X-rays of every part.
Yes.
It was a very clean lab, very well lit.
It was
Right.
beautiful.
Yeah,
And multiple stations, as you know, in many colleges, they might have 2 or 3 bays, and we had a whole suite, a whole room full of bays. So you got to see more than one variation of anatomy, because everybody is like a snowflake, right? Each person is unique and individual under the hood. And it was a marvelous experience.
yeah, but you know what? I got a perfect score on the dissection. I think
Not
it's
easy
the
to
first
do.
perfect
Yeah.
score they ever got. And I was really
That's
so proud of that because I did most of the dissection on our body. And
sure.
it was really an accomplishment for me. Like, wow. But
It,
I
it,
wanted to know anatomy so well.
it is when you get into some of those nerve plexi, and they're the finest little tiny nerves, and you're having to dissect out those nerves perfectly. It gives you, you're kind of at awe with how this whole body that we have is designed and created. And it is an extraordinary accomplishment to get high marks in that. It's not easy to do.
Yeah. So, one of my most proud moments, I would say that, because we did spend hours in the anatomy lab,
We did.
6, 7 hour, 8 hours sometimes.
Yes.
And then we had to get that formaldehyde smell off our clothes. And
You'd
then
come out
around.
cross-eyed from the formaldehyde. Exactly.
Oh,
Uh,
but now I became a brain doc. All right. So
that's fabulous.
it's kind of
What
cool.
Yeah, what you've done with your studies and advanced beyond what the typical chiropractor has done, and explore the neurology is really amazing what you've put together there.
Yeah,
I'm
I really, really, really appreciate that.
so
But
inspired by it.
over the years, you've added to it, right? You've added to my desire to know things because through breakthrough coaching, and I've had done breakthrough coaching before with you. Um, your ability to put together protocols and office efficiencies to get the most done for the patients,
Yes.
quite spectacular. It really is. So, you can be proud of your accomplishments, but you're more proud of the people you associate with, um, to really get to the point where you're going into your professional career.
Well, thank you. And I know this latest journey that you're on, you're now bringing into your practice some other disciplines. So you're bringing in nurse practitioner, you're bringing in PT to support and collaborate with in that practice. And I think it's just taking that practice and bringing it right to the leading edge of what's happening in neurological restoration, in regeneration of the body's systems. And it's extraordinary how you continue to grow and expand. And that's been a passion of mine for many, many years, is having medical doctors, medical collaborators work together with chiropractors. I know you know my dad was a chiropractor, and way back in those days, chiropractors and medical doctors would be unheard of working together, and now they're going to be working together in the same practice and co-managing and co-treating the patients there at your center, which is it's extraordinary. It's just I think the future of medicine. You're actually experiencing that in your own practice right now. It's very cool.
It really is. The type of cases that we get, especially in POTS, right? With POTS.
Yes, and I had literally forgotten about POTS, and when I began having conversations with you about it, you said it is so so highly uh, misdiagnosed, and that the people who are experiencing this or suffering from it become absolutely frustrated because it seems like there's no hope and it seems like there's no answers there. And you've created a center of excellence for these folks who really, they don't have an answer anywhere else. And this has become a very regular thing that you treat and care for in your practice, which is amazing, just amazing.
Yeah, the stories are heart wrenching when I get on the phone and I do a consult call. Which I just had one from someone from Indiana. She
Mm.
was from the Mayo Clinic. She had been in the Mayo Clinic. She had been in the Cleveland Clinic, and they have 6-month waiting times to get into those programs.
Wow.
Um, and the standard is cardiology
Mm-hmm.
because you're dealing with heart rate, you're dealing with blood pressure, you're dealing with respiration. And so what they do is they limit themselves to a certain thing. And quite honestly, if a patient comes in, they haven't had their heart checked. I mean, I'm not putting them on a bike and giving them oxygen.
Of
If
course.
there's a cardiologist that needs to be in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
So getting cleared by a cardiologist is really, really important. So
Yeah.
I want to make sure that everybody understands that. But
Yes.
when they get on the phone, they're like, well, nobody really understands it because it's not just one thing. It's not just POTS, it's chronic fatigue. Um, and then it's digestive issues.
Yeah.
Then it's nausea. They could be nauseated, vomiting. It's breathing problems. Um, it's pain syndromes, migraine headaches, and so forth and so on. Right now, we're seeing
Multi-systemic. Yeah.
a lot of girls with eating disorders that
Mm-hmm.
probably had some form of dysautonomia, that general term.
Yes. Well, it's fascinating, and so for folks who have this cascade of symptoms, and some have had it for years, to be able to come in and find you and know that there's actually hope is an amazing thing. It's very cool.
Yeah. hmm Well, hope's a good word. Hope's a really, really good word.
Yeah.
So today we had you on so that you can talk about what you talk about with most of the doctors that you work with. The most important thing is the communication with the patient.
Absolutely. What you just shared with us reinforces that tremendously. So when I think about what makes a great doctor, there's lots and lots of doctors out there, but what makes a great doctor is that they listen to you. They listen to you as a person. And just like you, where they've been stuck with a diagnosis or misdiagnosis or a limited view of their diagnosis, and yet you really listen to them and you understand that this is something that has multiple components. Not only is this an impact physically, but it's a huge impact emotionally on the patient and their life, and to be able to get on and live vibrantly the way that we all hope to do. And so I know that when you are with your patients, that you're really listening to them as a human being and not as a disease or a diagnosis. And that's a big, big difference about what you do, Joe.
I appreciate that. Now, a thing about that is that POTS is scary
Yeah.
because it affects so much in their life, and really they want to get their life back.
Mm-hmm.
We always talk about the impact. What's the impact of it?
Yes.
Well, I'm in pain. Well, that's really not the impact. The impact is that I get headache every night. I can't talk to my wife. I got chronic fatigue. I can't get out of bed and go to work. Uh,
Yes.
I have syncope. I stand up and then I get dizzy and I black out. Then I
Mm-hmm.
fall. Then I hit my head. Now I've got a concussion. Uh,
Yes.
so life impact has always been on the top of our communication
Mm.
through the years. But now it's getting really complicated, right? The life impact is so severe that they don't have a life. They
Right.
don't have a life.
Yes. And I know though that you give them the time that they need. In the traditional medical hospital-based system, it's just like a treadmill. It's like they're moving, 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 moving so fast, and they have all of this pressure to generate services that sometimes the focus comes off the patient, and it moves on to simply just test interpretation and again, diagnostic pigeonholing. And I know that one of the things that your patients remark on when they come to you is that they feel like you're fully present with them and that you're giving them the time that they need.
Yeah, but they're still all different.
Yeah, each
They're all
snowflake is
different. Yeah,
different. Yes.
exactly. So I mean, I start getting a lot of questions that I even start wondering myself, and it makes me do a little bit more research on each one of it. But in your program, I've met a lot of great professionals,
Thank you.
and
Yes.
these people really care about their patients and their patient base. We had just had Dr. Roy Buzzcorth on,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
he's like a brilliant guy, really brilliant guy, and what he's doing for the health and well-being of patients in the metabolic realm. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the diversity in the types of evaluations we want to do and the diversity in the types of service that should be done with a patient that is so far down in their health and sickness and wellness.
Absolutely. And taking this broad picture functional approach. And you mentioned a, a few things that it is multi-system that the impact is, and looking at this whole being from a functional standpoint, I think is one of the things that Dr. Buzz does best, right? So even when somebody comes in with an arthritic situation, he's looking at their gut health. He's looking at their GI system. They look absolutely at the adrenal function of that patient. And one of the top things they're looking at is cortisol, this destructive uh, uh, hormone that's produced in the body under stress. It impacts everything. When you have elevated cortisol, all bets are off. And if you're not addressing each of these components, whether it's endocrine, whether it's cardiovascular, whether it's gastrointestinal, you may be missing a big part of the key that is going to unlock what is there with this particular patient. Listen, most of us, maybe not 100% of the time, but we're not eating the way we should. We're not drinking the liquid that we should, although we try. You're driving by a McDonald's, and sometimes that, that sound of those French fries calls to you to come in there and get them. I don't see you eating too many McDonald's French fries, Joe, but um, you know, most of us succumb to that, and unfortunately, that's the largest component of most folks' diet is fast processed food, and it makes chronic inflammation such a significant component in everything that goes sideways in the human body, be it diabetes, obesity, cardiovascular issues, pulmonary issues. Chronic inflammation might be at the root cause of most diseases. And certainly in POTS, there has to absolutely be an inflammatory component going on in the body that has to be addressed. And and I think learning from folks who do have this functional approach, uh, it adds to what you do with the neurology tremendously. I'm always excited to hear from them and learn from them because this is really a rapidly evolving and developing science. And there's great science around it, but to study it and be uh, uh, conversant in it and be able to apply it in practice, it's a full-time job. It doesn't ever stop. It's always learning new things. And each new thing we learn just expands our toolkit even more.
Even more. Yeah, you mentioned the word inflammation, and inflammation can come from, like, you're right, many sources like the digestive tract, microorganisms, pathogens. COVID's been one of the biggest pathogens that's caused a lot of the POTS, especially in young people,
Mm-hmm.
and even the COVID vaccine.
Yes.
So, so
So
that
you see it.
inflammation can
Yeah.
start neurodegeneration over time.
Yep.
Correct. Yes.
So you see a correlation between folks who are experiencing POTS and the having COVID or having the vaccine. That's a common theme that comes up.
Common theme all over the place. In fact,
Yeah.
if it wasn't for COVID, maybe we wouldn't have the epidemic that we have now in POTS
Mm.
and all the other comorbidities that go along with it, because it's pretty complicated. That
Yeah.
spike protein is pretty much nasty. The
Mm-hmm.
body doesn't like it. It's man-made. I don't think we naturally understand it in our immune system, and so the neurology gets affected the most by that.
Gotcha. Gotcha. That
Do a
makes sense.
scan. We do a scan by brain core. Brain core is one of the systems that we have. Actually have two systems.
Mm-hmm.
Sound fanatic is you can say it again. I'm fanatic. All right.
In a good way.
Word
In a good
system.
way.
And it gives us information on inflammation in the brain. mitochondrial function. It's pretty cool. They use the database in a way that we get some metabolic information from it.
That's fascinating.
And that is really fascinating because we can retest and see if that's dropping off, that inflammation in the brain. So unless you address the inflammation, then I know that you're not going to get the results on the scan that you want to over time. So it's got to be addressed. It's got to be tested for. And then we have another system. It's called Brain Master. It looks at 6,900 points within the brain and all the points of communication.
Wow.
Um, and that gives us a whole different look at brain function and what we need to do.
Mm.
So, so we go to great lengths to make sure that we understand the core functionality of the patient. And now, when you have a lot too much information, right? Because we've always been told to simplify it enough so patients understand it. Um, we run into that problem where is too much information confusing, or does it give the patient a greater understanding of what's going on?
Mhm. Well, I want to be informed. And I may not always understand all the terminology. I didn't do all the years of study that you've done as a patient, but I think communicating to our patients, letting them know what it is that we're looking for, that we're finding. I think to me, if I were in that situation, it would give me some certainty that I'm making the right decisions. Uh, we don't have, as lay people, all of the information that you all have as specialists in this area. And so I'm going to ask you, as if you're my doctor and I'm your patient, don't underestimate me. Please give it to me, good or bad. Don't sugarcoat it. Tell me like it is. And Joe, I think that's going to help motivate me because I'm going to have to make some changes. Right. I know that the journey of restoration of health is something that I have to actively participate in, right? I can't sit back that traditional medical model that something's wrong with you and you either need to take a pill or have surgery. That is not necessarily a passive model, the model that's going to get you out of the situation that you're in, that you're going to have to take some action. And I think people take stronger action when they have the information that they need. And that if they're uncertain, that they take less strong action with less commitment. And that I think whatever it is that you're dealing with in terms of a health issue, that it's typically a process that's developed over time and that it's going to require a process over time to reset that and to get you back to the level of health that you want to be at. Um, but it's not just the doctor who's I say we're not priests, we're doctors. We can't lay on hands. I wish we could and have you have your full health restored, but we are partners in this journey together. And I think that's a key thing, Joe, because of your own personal health history. And I don't know how much of that you've shared with your audience, but you've been in their shoes. You've been in the situation that they're confronting that maybe seems like there is no hope. And I think when you share with them what your thoughts are about the process and what it's going to take to get them well, it just comes with so much more credibility because you've been there, done that, got the T-shirt, right, Joe?
Yeah, yeah, I got a lot of interest actually. Um, Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I came to the point that I came to, but we're going to open up. And I told my cousin this over the weekend. She says, "What are you crazy? Like, are you crazy? Another thing you're doing?" Because honestly, Mark, I lost everything. I mean, I was just at bare bones, and I didn't think anybody would
Almost
give it.
lost your life. Yeah, almost
Yeah,
lost your life.
yeah. Like, well, I don't think about that anymore. I really don't. I mean, I think my life is saved for a purpose, right?
Yes, I agree.
So I think I'm really kind of in the purpose that I was meant to be in, and so
Yeah.
that feels really secure.
Yes.
But with your coaching and with your help, you've introduced me, and we've have a new center called Hope Regenerative Medicine Center.
Yes.
And so we've been working, and in June we'll be opening the center, and we're
That's
going to
exciting.
have a nurse practitioner
Yeah.
here. We have two collaborating medical doctors that will be working with us, and it's going to bring us forward with the techniques to get a higher level of healing within the patient population that we've been attracting.
Absolutely. And this whole field of regenerative medicine that essentially is using the body's own healing abilities to heal itself is absolutely fascinating. You mentioned mitochondrial health a little bit, and there's so much science now about mitochondria. And if you're listening, mitochondria are the little organelles in your body that produce energy. And so if your mitochondria are pooped out, your body's going to be pooped out in every way. And so to be able to drive mitochondrial health, and I know that you're adding medical grade peptide therapies to your office, that you're adding regenerative therapies into the office that are really cutting edge and are just going to expand upon what you've created there. And it's a very exciting time, and it's a cool thing for you to be bringing it all together in one place.
Yeah, especially especially for brain health,
Yep.
and how the brain and the body are linked, and they can't operate without each other. So
Yes.
yeah, I'm really excited to continue to learn about it and to continue to apply it with the doctors that are in your program to really get educated at a higher level all the time, because it's changing
Yes.
rapidly. Just as we speak right now, there's more research coming out. There's more peptides that are being discovered, that signaling molecules that help the body heal.
It
And
is fascinating, and you recommend you mentioned or referenced the community of clinicians that we've put together, and we really have some of the most amazing folks in this field in our organization that we meet regularly in touch with each other, and we serve as resources to each other because this is a big growing field, and it's absolutely one that the smartest guy knows that we're smarter when we're together than we are when we're on our own. And so to be able to have a great resource for your patients is a wonderful thing.
well, thank you, and thank you for being part of it. Some of the patients that we do have, I have a little boy with cerebral palsy. We work on his brain, and he's 11 years old,
Mm,
and he doesn't walk, doesn't really use his arms very well, and really has a fear about him, about everyone and everything. And
sure.
we've been treating him for about 5 weeks, and he's kind of come out of it. His personalities are like really good. He's loving coming to the center. He's getting a lot of great brain changes, and hopefully we can get even more from him. But he just loves it here. He's got
That's
a great
wonderful.
personality now. His level of fear has gone way down. His physical reactivity to other people and people approaching him has settled down. He's more inviting. He likes to talk. So it's been great, even treating people like with cerebral palsy. Um,
That's spectacular.
so we're learning a lot, and the little kids are just as special as the adults. Although I would say I like the little kids better. Like the little
Well, every adult is a little kid inside there somewhere, right, Joe?
kids. Yes, yes. All right. It was so nice having you on. It was
What a
great
pleasure,
for
my friend.
me to be dealing with you and to be working with you. And you have a great day. And I'll see you soon and talk to you soon. Thank you,
Thank
Doc.
you, buddy. I wish you all the best.
Thanks. Bye. Thank you for joining us on My POTS podcast. If you're looking for more support, visit us at hopebraincenter.com or follow our journey on TikTok, where we share daily insights and inspiration. Remember, healing is possible. I'm living proof. I'm Dr. Joseph Schneider, and I'll see you next time as we continue exploring paths to recovery.